Americans for Fair Taxation presents the weekly Chairman's Report, written by Steve Hayes, president of Americans for Fair Taxation, and recorded by Bob Paxton, a volunteer with the Florida Fair Tax Educational Association. And now, this week's Chairman's Report.
Hello, I'm Bob Paxton with the AFFT Chairman's Report for Friday, April 3rd, 2026. The Missouri House backs a plan to replace the income tax with an expanded sales tax. The following data is from an article in the Missouri Independent. The article pointed out that the Missouri House passed and sent to the Missouri State Senate a proposed constitutional amendment that would give lawmakers broad authority to expand the state sales tax and use the revenue to eliminate the income tax. State Representative Bishop Davidson, a Republican from Republic, which presented a tax plan to the House, called the income tax, which generates about 65% of the state's annual general revenue, he called that the least fair tax that undermines economic growth. When we tax income, Davidson said, we tax productivity and we tax creativity. The proposed amendment provides that for each additional $20 million in revenue over the base year of fiscal year 2025, the top rate would be cut by 0.01 percentage points, with a cap of 1.6 percentage point reduction in the top rate for any given year. To achieve the maximum reduction in a single year, revenue would have to grow by $3.2 billion from the expanded sales tax base. The state income tax would be eliminated when those reductions combine to lower the top rate to 1.4%. Lawmakers will have 3 years to expand the sales tax to all goods and services and eliminate exemptions to raise enough revenue to replace the income tax without having to seek another statewide vote. Republicans pointed to states like Florida, Texas, and Tennessee, which are growing faster than Missouri and have no income tax. State Representative George Ruza, a Republican from Huntley, said replacing the income tax with an expanded sales tax would lead to job growth, economic investment, and population growth, and it would be, he said, a much more fair system. Unlike the income tax, he said, people can choose when they pay the sales tax. I imagine a life where people are able to aspire to purchase their own home, a life where they're able to have children without wondering if they can financially afford it, he said. A life in which they're able to raise those children in a loving environment, one in which they're provided for a life that they can put some money aside for retirement. In conclusion, state legislators in Missouri are looking at Tennessee and other states without a state income tax and seeing their economic expansion. They understand that the state income tax is a disincentive for people and businesses to come to Missouri. There's a growing understanding in our country that for too long we've been burdened by the income tax at both the state and national levels. People are seeking more freedom to make their own decisions, and one of those decisions is how much tax they pay and when they pay it. In addition, a sales tax is visible, not hidden like the income tax. The way to make a state and a nation more competitive, productive, and freer is to eliminate the income tax. Now, one way to improve the Missouri plan would be to implement the prebate included in the Alabama and Georgia state fair tax legislation. The prebate allows lower-income residents to pay no state sales tax up to the poverty level for their family size. This eliminates any attempt to attack the plan as regressive. The fair tax is the answer. Now, the fair tax is a national retail sales tax on new goods and retail services. It provides a family credit so that all purchases up to the poverty level for each family are not taxed. There's no withholding from your paycheck, and you never have to file a tax return telling the government how much you earned and how much you spent ever again. And you'll never be harassed by the IRS ever again either, because the fair tax abolishes the IRS. Now, many of you have labored tirelessly for freedom from the federal income tax and the IRS. You deserve a great deal of credit for your efforts to educate the American people on the need to fund the American government in a way that's good for America and returns freedom to the American people. It's imperative, though, that we don't replace the current income tax and the IRS with an alternative system that could still be manipulated by the ruling elite. We must let Congress and the President know that the best way to replace the income tax and the IRS is with the fair tax. Now, make no mistake about it. The fair tax is a grave threat to the ruling elite. It will strip them of their power and their ability to control us through the tax system. Their opposition to the fair tax will be fierce and unrelenting. And don't think for an instant they won't use half-truths, deception, and downright lies in their desperate attempts to hang on to their power. However, with the support of this president, we can finally eliminate the income tax and the IRS. Of course, the best course of action is not only to repeal the income tax and abolish the IRS, but to repeal the 16th Amendment as well, so no future administration can ever shackle the American people with an income tax again. We must come together and ensure that real tax reform, the fair tax, is not subverted by the elites in D.C. This will take the diligent effort from all of us. We need your financial assistance and we need your grassroots assistance. Now, if you have contacts that will allow us to get more information about the fair tax to President Trump, please let us know. Please email us at info@fairtax.org and we'll give you some options on how you can best help us. At a minimum, please call your congressional representative and ask if he or she supports the fair tax. If so, thank him or her for their support and suggest they become a co-sponsor of H.R. 25 if they're not one already. If not, ask why not. Now, if your representative claims to be unfamiliar with the fair tax, offer to have someone come to their office and explain it to them. The solution? Pass the fair tax. Now, why would D.C. pass the fair tax and give up an almost unlimited source of donations? Well, they won't, at least not voluntarily. The only way they will is if the rest of us demand it. Isn't it time to end this ludicrous tax collection system and the IRS along with it? Help us bring about real tax reform and stop future IRS abuses. By contributing or investing $10.40 a month, you help provide a financial base to Americans for fair taxation. Now, if you can make larger contributions/investments, these will be used not for salaries, as we're all volunteers, but for the needed updates to our economic studies, which will be vital for all future years. Please go to fairtax.org to invest in AFFT and help us pass the fair tax. It's an investment in your and your family's future.
This has been the Weekly Chairman's Report, written by Steve Hayes, President of Americans for Fair Taxation. Check back every week for news and information about the fair tax and learn why the fair tax should replace our antiquated federal income tax system. If you'd like to receive a copy of the Chairman's Report in your inbox every week, sign up at fairtax.org.